Hello, hello. Great. Fantastic. Now that y'all can hear me, because I'm an idiot who didn't turn my headset on, um, I made a nice fancy ring for to use up some of the scraps of plastic canvas that I have. So I yeah, I have plenty of this embroidery floss lying around. And I have plenty of plastic canvas scraps that really aren't big enough to do anything else with, especially while I'm working on this project. And yeah, so we're mostly just gonna chill out while I work on this until people arrive in chat who need to, in order to continue the mystery bunny that I was working on last time. The problem with this metallic thread is that it is a bitch and a half to work with. So it's it requires an amount of finesse. So I don't know how there we go. Okay. Hopefully that helps it cooperate for now. It's definitely a lot easier when you don't store your project in your pocket, just kind of loose. That means things get all twisted up and not very cooperative. We're gonna attempt to let this get pulled straight. But the problem is that the copper likes to fray. And that's always what you're going to get with these metallic threads. again, attempt to untwist it without knocking the needle off, because part of the problem is that the needle is loose, not like it's not quite the same way I do the other like the set building that I've been doing. Um, because it's just I use the start loop to secure the start of the plastic canvas. So right now, the goal is to at least finish the copper, because it's a lot easier to untangle the not metallic thread. Okay. Hey, base. I'm doing pretty good. I'm experimenting with a new technique. I'm making a ring. So just recycling some of my scraps. How are you doing? Cool, cool. Fair enough. I never really got into any of like the Star Wars games. I mean, I was never one of those huge Star Wars nerds. I can appreciate the movies, but This thread is driving me crazy. So I'm notoriously bad at like starting a project and then getting distracted by a different project. So I can definitely understand uh the like sporadic, oh yes, let me work on this, now let me go back and work on this, now let me do this, let me try out this. So I get that. It's frustrating to a point because I know I have a really hard time of actually completing things. So I have the whiteboard in my room to hopefully help keep myself accountable for things like that. This is just not pretty. Oh well. Yeah. See, at this point, some of your typos, I almost just assume are intentional because like you're trying to be a wise guy or something. So I'm just completely unfazed. Now that I've finished off the copper, the whole point was to separate you two. Thank you. I swear, the thread has a mind of its own and it likes to behave like errant children sometimes. So once I finish off this copper, I'm going to go back to working on the actual set. Uh, but I've made some good progress on at least the first wall. So that will be put off to the side for now. I'm going to attempt to move my trash can over and hopefully not get stuck to things. Okay. So I want to just play video games. It's Friday night. I think it's a good day to play video games. Like confused what I'm stepping on and tangled up with. Ugh. So I'm just quickly trimming up some more of these ring blanks so I have them. Okay. Those are done, just so I have those. Let's see what all is. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah, you're sneaking into the chat. Happen to see who else is here. Hi. You might have me tabbed, but hello, I see you, I acknowledge you. Let me get the server. This one. Okay. Fantastic. What was I doing? Besides losing my mind. So I've made some progress on the tavern wall. I have the brick. This brick is finished down here. I'm gonna add some wood going across over here. I just got to finish up the brick pattern on this side, and yeah. And this will be the wall that is behind the tavern that goes here. That will lead back to the kitchens through the doorway. So that will be where this one goes. The wall over here should just be a blank wall, but I think that's what it'll be, is that side will be just a plain wall. So I am going to also, I think, add, so in this lighting you can see the bricks pretty clearly defined, but up close it does lose a little bit of definition, and I want them to stand out. So I think what I'll end up doing is I have this darker gray that I'm just going to go over the lines just to make them pop that little bit extra. So that's at least the grand master plan for the time being. I got my racing on in the background. we go. So that is that brick finished. And so what I also did, I forget if I was actually working on this on stream at all. I added some extra layers here, so there's actually a bit of depth to it, just to give um, the door frame a bit more definition. Also to add a bit more structural security, since it is kind of a giant gaping hole. I think we want to come down here. Discord is yapping. Yeah, yeah, that's always a risk that you run and be like, yes, this was the initial plan. Let's take that idea, throw it out the window. So I have 2 more rows, I believe. Yeah, 2 more rows of bricks. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you heard me, but my recommendation was to play video games. Just put it down for now and go play video games. Because at a certain point, it's like, I know for me personally, I'll always be like, oh, okay, well, it's missing something. I could do something else. Fair enough. I think the and one of the next steps that I'm probably going to have at least some potential issues with is when I get around to trying to start like actually shooting pictures for this is how am I gonna like position the camera? Where will I have it set up? What program am I gonna use? Or am I just gonna like literally just use my phone to take a bunch of snapshots? Or can I take pictures directly into like a Premiere or something? Or if something else in the Adobe suite has uh, a better option. But that's for future because we'll worry about. It's not my problem right now. Let's check out what Discord was. Okay, great. Oh, stretch. I make a bag of salt? Okay, so we're gonna quickly pop over to the store. Hopefully, we're gonna buy. Great, fantastic. Let's try that again. I know, seriously. Just ran over to the store and bought some bags of salt. That is basically exactly what I did. Okay, great, fantastic. Ugh. Hello, hello, welcome in. How is it going? So we are working on the tavern walls, and I completely understand the being tired from going to the beach. Uh, However, I don't get along with the sun, so I don't usually willingly go to the beach. I am very much one of those people who will admire the beach from pictures. But I hope you enjoyed. Exactly. Does it look like I like the sun? I have permanent freckle lines from how much me and the sun do not get along. Yeah, I guess. I mean, they do make sun lamps. You don't have to go to the beach. You could also just like lay on the roof or something. Because then there's all that sand places that sand shouldn't be. That is fair enough. Fair enough. When talking about it, I guess, again, if you are a beach person, then you care about getting up in time. I am up that early, but not because I want to be. Yeah. I unfortunately have no choice but to wake up early because I leave for work by 6:30 in the morning, so I am not a very graceful morning person. So I'm up at 5:30 in the morning, uh, and I am not a nice person to be around until at least like 2 hours into work, because I don't have the patience for anybody. Well, the other problem is that where I am, the beach doesn't really smell the greatest, and I can't stand like the Long Island Sound smell because it's not pleasant. When I was down in Florida, I didn't have a problem with it, but New York water is not good. That is not how that works. We need to go up here. Florida, yeah, it's definitely tropical, but um, I only went down there for a vacation last year. That it in general, Florida is way too hot for me. I'd be much more happy in the mountains somewhere. where it's cold. I don't function very well in humid air. So when it's that tropical rainforest type air, I am not happy. And if I'm not happy, nobody around me is happy. New York, however, it has its mood swings. It definitely will fluctuate between being, 60 degrees and like overcast one day, and then the next day it'll be like 80 degrees and sunny. And then the next day you could have snow. Not quite that bad, but it definitely feels like the weather is bipolar up here. But when I lived up in Massachusetts, I was like happier with the weather up there because for the most part it was colder. I'm sure if I lived in a place that was warmer on a more regular basis, uh, I'd get used to it. But since I don't, I'm not. And the hot makes me grumpy. Again, as I whack myself in the face. What is going on here? Okay, that's better. Untwist it. Exactly. Exactly. You can only take off so many layers before people look at you funny in public. But you can always add more, like, add a hat, add a scarf, add another coat. So I'd rather be on the colder side. Only for you, base. Only for you. It's the only time I'll throw dollar bills. Again, I need to stop hitting myself. Delicious, delicious caffeine.
Spit Crew played football at Kansas State, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Virginia Tech, and Wake Forest, and they have just won $100,000, Jamie.
And Mike, this is the first official season that any of these guys have played on a team, all recruited by NFL experts. Max, get on over here. You told me you couldn't even sleep. You've been thinking about this moment. What does this mean? You guys are the top picker. You take home $100,000.
Yeah, man, this is awesome. This is definitely beyond my wildest dreams. You know, I was out there like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, running my first my friend Travis and 71 team trying for us, and we've been working hard this year. Probably the youngest team on pit road. Just hard work and determination. That's what sets apart today, I say. But yeah, it's been awesome.
How about the nerves? You guys went out with this team and you had to wait for all those stars and all those recruits.
I got no words. I can't breathe. I'm blacked out there in a stop. I can't breathe.
Congratulations. Well done, guys. Top pit crew. Their driver right here. Speed driver. Down.
Well, there is their stop. 12.587 seconds. They win by 13 one-thousandths of a second. And they're $100,000 richer. Brad Keselowski has won the pole. And we'll talk to him next.
At State Street, everyone's trying to get somewhere. Take the next step towards your future by investing in the now. Any now starts here. State Street.
I can't believe they're leaving. Like, who would ever want to leave this paradise? Do I miss my mom? Of course I do. But do I regret my decision to stay in paradise? I do too.
So why don't you sell your celebration products and experience? Yeah, I mean, we keep Xfinity Internet fast, reliable, and home on the go. It's kind of like keeping cars fast and reliable on the track. Okay. What's a jack? Right here. It's swap the apple. Okay. Just stick with it.
Xfinity is your super fast mascot.
Matches.
Movement that inspires. What better than limited time deals and unlimited? That's why we find out. Rice never frozen beans and optimized called bacon. And all the time. I gotta be one.
There you go. That's what $100,000 looks like. Yeah, here's Brandon Smith. Mike, the guy that's going to lead the field of green as we go for $1 million. Brad Keselowski. You're where
I've never done that. One thing I've never done in my career, and to do it myself on like that, but a total team effort. You know, Pit Crew and Jeremy Mullins, the team, they gave me a rock solid car, rock stop, pit stop, and said, "Here you go. Here's the ball." And nailed the lap, and just really proud, happy for everybody who put this out plumbing. You know, founder Danny passed away a few weeks ago, and his whole family's watching, and it's the first race went back on the car, and with the ECU Pirates colors on it, so we're gonna lead from the green. We're the first pole, so it feels good.
Good to see you smiling. Have fun tomorrow. Thanks. And that gives him the pole for the heat and for the All-Star race. Tomorrow on FS1 and 2 Truck Series. qualified in the Window World 250 truck race and the Cup Series heat races. You want to bet more on NASCAR? Well, it's coming up next. Tune in for Unedited to tell you all about the active racing that's here, right here on NASCAR Next.
Okay. Just stretching. We're just going to use the rest of this. As long as I don't lose my needle. Okay. I'm very carefully making sure the tail gets caught. Trying to keep thread untwisted. And once I finish this level of bricks, I'm gonna use the tail to start doing the edging. And then I will move on to a different color because I don't feel like doing all the edging right now. I'm gonna do all the detail work at the end. Not even clicked into the right window. How do I get 7 stingers out of 3 wasps? The math ain't mathin'. Hey, Shatter! Thank you for the cheer! Welcome in. How's it going? Of course you are, Base. Of course you are. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm making a wall. I'm building a wall. And I was experimenting. I made a ring. I'm working on another ring with some plastic canvas scraps. So I'm keeping busy. Fair enough, fair enough. How's your adjustment to the night shift going? Well, in theory, the figures could build their stuff with magic. I'm just the magic. Yikes. I got racing on and we made it 2 laps without incident. Oh, trust me. I have an entire 15-foot shed that is full of miscellaneous like craft supplies. Because for the longest time, I would just be like, ooh, that's a pretty color. Ooh, I could use that for something. I couldn't tell you what, but I could use it for something. But it's one of those. So the plastic canvas idea originally came from the fact that my dad's mother and his sister used to do the plastic canvas, like making the ornaments with it. So I'm like, this whole project is kind of a mix of all of the possible crafts that I can do, as a nod to the people who have taught me the crafts, as a tribute to everybody who's, passed on their knowledge, and also just to show off, hey, this is all of the stuff I can do. Because it's like free advertising, even though it's not, because I'm sitting here, working on everything. But it's my little, let me show, jack of all trades and whatnot. So let me show off how good I can do at each of these trades. So, like, crochet is 100% my main craft. So let me turn the camera this way so you guys can kind of see. Get that out of the way. So I do actually have a second finished floor tile that I will attempt to line up. I have these fancy connectors that will hold things together in the background. So that'll be the floor. This is the wall that leads to the kitchen. So here will be like saloon style doors. And then I'll have somewhere, I have the color. This is not the church. This is absolutely not the church. So, and then this color will be used to make large, like horizontal, to make it look almost like a log cabin. So that will be that. And then what I will also then use is like the same color that I have this bar. That'll be the color of the doors. And this darker color will be all of the accent pieces. So this is slowly what the set will look like. I think I have to rotate these floor pieces 90 degrees just based off of the way I had it in my head. Because the way I'm like, I need a whole extra tile over this way. So this is how I will have it. The connectors, in theory, will be able to sort of hold the wall up as well. At least when I have the edging on it, like the floors do. And this way, nothing is permanently connected. This way, it'll be, I can be like, oh yes, let me take it down. Sure. The bar is one piece with some added, supports in the background. But I can get a bigger box to store that. So I am, slowly, piece by piece, figuring things out. And then I think once I get like a good chunk of the set built, I'm gonna create so I created a Patreon. I haven't actually officially launched it yet, because this way I want to give people the opportunity to create a character and have like their character be in, either it's in the background of the whole show, or have it be just a design an NPC that'll show up when I need a person to fill a spot. But I want the community to be able to be a part of this, because none of this would be nearly as far along as it is without all y'all hanging out and being super impressed by it. Because then I'm like, oh, well, I have to make more progress. I have to have things to show off to them. And I want to be able to give everybody the opportunity, even if it's like, oh yeah, hang this picture in the background of the tavern, or in one of the rooms of the tavern. So I definitely am trying, making it up as I go along, but I am trying. Yeah, Shatter. This my own pace involves me ignoring people at work and working on this because my machine runs itself. So I have the ability to be like, okay, I'm sitting at my computer. I can answer emails if I need to. But meanwhile, let me stab my plastic so I don't stab my coworkers. Listen, all y'all, I'm not even from the South. I've never lived in the South, but I pick up the slang from the South. Don't ask me how. Yeah, I got extremely lucky with uh the way my career path sort of ended up, even if I'm not exactly happy at work. But I program and operate a sheet metal laser cutter. So I was hired at the company to work IT. And then I got told this $1 million machine was now my problem. And considering I'm the only person in the entire, like, probably 500 employee organization who can program said machine and use said machine, I have a little bit of leeway. I can get away with a lot that, a lot more than most people could. Because what are they going to do? Fire me? 90% of production shuts down if they do that. Then again, you also have the whole fighting that people just get sad because, or sad, butthurt, whatever you want, whatever term you want to use, because I'm a girl and I can do their job better than them. I mean, base. I think it depends on why your butt hurt. Because if you if that's what you're into, then I mean, in theory, it means again, it all depends on why it hurts. Because if you asked for it, then you know. Listen, I've had conversations with some of my coworkers, specifically talking about similar questions, and I made him very confused. Woohoo! So yeah, I have drawn a couple of emotes. So I'm slowly becoming like a real streamer or something. And when I say draw, I mean I hand drew those. Those are colored pencil drawings for my emotes. Listen, it's all about confidence. I can confidently say what I'm doing. Therefore, people believe I know what I'm doing, even though I'm completely winging it. Because that is how the best situations happen. Oh, it absolutely is. It's more important to know where to find the information to get something done than it is to know the information yourself. But there are definitely situations where it is more fun to just fly by the seat of your pants and whatever happens, happens. Shatter, you mentioned 4 job sites. What are you like in construction or something? That's the only thing I can think of that has specifically job sites.
After being involved in quite the stack of 15 cars in total involved in that crash. And it does shake up the running order here a little bit with one lap in the books. Lewis is going to come to the top side. The last night's promo column winner, Caden Honeycutt with 5. Carson Walton with Nelson Motorsports 22 picks the bottom of row 2. And that 32 car, full-time NASCAR Xfinity Series driver, Carson Quaffle, making his return to the late model stock car. And we spoke to him earlier yesterday, and he said he's really looking forward to this one. Yeah, the 32 car is one that they keep in their family home. And he actually went to Tri-County last weekend and run this car. Won the feature there, so good to be in this 32. Setting in the window, roll 100 back underway. Lance Lewis selects the top side again. Cut down low. Back through the iRacing restart zone. Lewis brings us back down to green. There we see a good launch there for that 29. As we've gone through the day today with the cup cars on the racetrack, we've seen this crew spread out all over the racetrack. But that rubber from those cars is still on the track, so it'll take these cars a little bit to wear that off. And we know we've got a caution coming around lap 25. Caden Honeycutt fighting hard on the inside there. Carson Waffle's going to try to clear him off a turn 2 side by side down the back straightaway. Lofton behind him looking for a way to go. Landon Lewis stretching out that lead. Yeah, you see Caden Honeycutt down there. Couple cars up the racetrack in the middle of 3 and 4. Looks like everybody's in a points game. See, that was Donald Schaefer who got knocked up out of line. Keeping it going. We stay under green. Yeah, you see that 5-car Caden Honeycutt right there on the bottom of the racetrack. Last night's late model winner here in the Cars Tour. He in several of the races this weekend in the Truck Series after this for the rest of the weekend. So fun to see Caden here. So, here's Luke. Go Cars. Luke put him on the wall. Carson Quaffle backs the 32 car to the wall there down in turn 1 and 2. It's so hard to make passes on the inside here. We saw those cars fighting hard. Caden Honeycutt on the inside just pushed him a little bit too hard down into turn 1 again. We talk about that loose entry. To be able to fight that car, you got to be able to chase it up the racetrack. But he drives it up into his competitor here and spins around in turn 2. Yeah, on this new asphalt, when I drove the late model stock here last year in August, that looseness, you're going to see exactly what we're talking about right here with the 5 cars.
I got a race going on in the background, and they're struggling. But it very well may be because of like the NASCAR guys that were on the track today.
Lucky as well to be able to get out of here as unscathed as he was, but the 32 car is going to be a rare flip for that group. But just getting down into the corner, you can see the Maxwell 5 step out as he loses a little bit of brake down into turn 1. Nothing you can do. Once you lose the back of the car, you got to chase it up the racetrack. Unfortunate ending. Second verse, unfortunately, same as the first. Caution number 2. The approach to turn 1 claims Carson Quaffle.
That is not the correct spot. That is not where that's supposed to go. That's supposed to go there. I swear I do kind of know what I'm doing, even though I'm making up this pattern as I go. Untangling the thread. the thread as untwisted as possible.
This is what Georgetown looks like when you keep it just 12 hours of uninterrupted strength 12 hours. If you prefer over a graceful right there. That's a mistake.
Ugh.
Or the state.
Why would I use him to have Across the decade-long history of the car tour, there have been so many notable winners and names, and now competing on the national level on a weekly basis. This list is scrolling to grow, and it has been so much fun to watch all these racers move on up and continue to excel in their respective careers. Welcome back to the Window World 100 on our second caution after another incident while battling for second in turn number one. And gentlemen, we were talking a little bit off camera. Hey, Unedited was able to come out of that relatively unscathed, but the Cars Tour does have a hardworking group of officials that diligently look back at each and every incident. I would imagine that the realm of responsibility is going to fall on that 5 car. Even if he would rejoin the race, we'll likely see nothing off the bat. Yeah, that's a rule that we've had for quite some time. Jeff Finale had that rule in the series, and we love it. It's tough to make that judgment call, but it does tend to lead some cleaner racing because the drivers know there's a repercussion for spinning out or taking out on the competitors. You talk about the winners, past winners. We've had a lot of drivers that have competed in this series in recent years. William Byron, and we saw Kyle Larson in the earlier clip. Ryan Newman raced with us this year as well in Orange County. Ryan Newman's run modifieds, and you know how hard he worked past back in the day, Kevin. He gets out of the car full of sweat and said it's the most intense racing he's done in a long, long time. So proud to have him join us and see what this sport is all about. And they're going to see kind of what this race is all about. We get the field going. Only 4 laps into this race. One of the cars involved in our most recent caution, 2-time champion Carson Waffle in the Menzies down there with an update.
Yeah, Eric, obviously so much anticipation going into Carson here at the Wilkesboro. As a former champion, former winner of this race, just checked in with the team saying they have right rear quarter panel damage. Also, the deck lid is shot, so they have been working very meticulously and thoroughly on the back of that, trying to salvage something for that 32 machine. Like,
And also, an update on the number 1 of the Andrew Brady. You guys, I think, in the booth remember vividly when we caught up with him yesterday. He had a really great quote when it talked about running the outside in qualifying. He said you got to go to 1 and 2 about 3 inches from Jesus to be able to make speed at that end of the racetrack. They've had a long discussion under this caution period where they have re-emphasized that as well. They talked a lot about being used on the outside lane and how many roads they're willing to give up. Don't give up on that 1 car. He's made up about 10 spots already. Very early portion of this race.
Kevin, is that what you got to do last year? Well, as we've seen turn 1, it's very treacherous, and you want to drive in there straight. You want to let that car run up the racetrack. But these guys are starting to talk about that outside lane, and you heard it right there, talking about how many lanes will you give up. So that's a decision that you're going to have to make on the button on the bottom, you're going to be, how many spots are you going to lose?
And we've talked about also at the top of the show the points battle. Connor Hall starting back in 17th position, worked his way up into the top 10 through all the attrition in the front of the field. And also Kate Brown in the 4 car has improved 10 positions from 23rd all the way up to 13th. So both of those drivers dodging all of the chaos out on the racetrack. And that's why they're in this battle.
So we are laying the final brick now.
Furthest back a winner has ever come to win here was Connor 5th last October. Right now we have only 2 drivers who started in the top 5, still running up in the top 5. The race leader Landon Lewis and Carson Lawson in the 22. Everyone else started the front. Might set a new record for the furthest back someone has come to win this race at this racetrack.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. And when you're talking about Connor Hall, I mean, he's a 2-time national champion on the NASCAR late model stock side. Great team with Dale's team. So it doesn't surprise me with his experience and the experience of the team that he's able to position himself just by dodging the carnage to put himself back in the front of the pack.
Moving up at the front row there, Landon Lewis has chosen that outside again, predictably. Krista McKee, though, very young driver, now positioned on that front row on the inside. And then you see also Vinny Tyrell, the 81, very fast on these type of racetracks. He loves the bigger asphalt, high racetracks. That 81's been really fast, so working their way toward the front. But Tristan McKee on that inside line.
You're not supposed to go there. Only undoing a stitch was as easy as just Control Z.
First crash, second crash was much different than the first one.
Instead of very carefully feeding thread through backwards without trying to thread it.
At the restart lines, be able to lose as little ground as possible, try to maintain as much as you can through turns 1 and 2, and then try to make some ground up in 3 and 4.
Kristen has an only model win here in last August, driving with the Sensor Racing and Development team with his first win ever in the Ford store. LA Buck stock car. 5 laps in the books, still got 96 laps to go. Landon Lewis, the pole sitter, elects the outside again with McKee on the bottom as they come from Guy Racing restart zone and try it again as we're back underway at Woodsboro.
McKee do a pretty good job on the bottom of that racetrack, right up against the door of that 29 car. Now he's going to have a much better time through turns 3 and 4 as the momentum is really kept in 1 and 2. But Landon does a great job on the top of the track as you see the back of that car slide out.
Out into turn 1, McKee flies in behind the 29. Lewis with the momentum off of turn 2, just about clears a little contact right there. He's going to look back to the inside, and Lewis is going to let him have the bottom. Kind of swung in the back, Dustin.
See y'all after the ads.
And that's what I really love about this racetrack, Dale. We talk about that new asphalt, but the way that it is aging and the way that it allows these guys to move around the racetrack is just going to continue.
So what are you unhappy with? Like, is it like the lighting, the perspective, the character pose? Because at a certain point, like, you almost might be better off just kind of going, you know what? This is as good as it's gonna get, so send it. I mean, base, what you could also do is just like, put it down, put it to the side. Obviously, I know that you can't physically put it down. Go get a snack, get a drink, then come back, look at it, maybe like spin around 3 times, look at it again. And then if you're still not happy with it, maybe you do have to come back to it later on. But I'm sure that you're at the point where you're nitpicking things. Why is my race car revving? I hear my race car revving in the background. No, I do know why it's revving because uh, Dad was changing the spark plug wires and the heat shield because the engine was breaking up while he was racing. But base, I'm sure your art is perfect. So I say render it and send it. Call it done. Stick a fork in it.
Carson logged in his career has not been a traditional trip from one stock cars. His only other starts at the racetrack were 602 brake modified or a turbo type modified. This is the first time he's ever raced in Defenders, and he's been very impressive with a race team who's won multiple championships with Bobby in the car and in the pits, and he's doing a tremendous job fending off the drivers. Comes into this race as the points leader. Seems to be battling like Logan started both Brown on both of them back in sixth.
Yeah, and I think Lawson's car is definitely 100% leverage being held up, and I think the more and more this battle goes on, I'd say the less and less patience will be, and I think that front bumper will probably be more useful. That's usually the way that it goes in these late model stock cars.
Here comes Hall again, trying to make the inside work as things run right now. Oh, that's a big slide by Hall off the floor.
When I race these cars here, that was pretty normal. You have to be in a four-wheel slide on the turn four. There's so much fun to drive, and you see the slide right here by Connor on the inside of the racetrack, and that's just him knowing that he's got too much speed to keep that car pinned down, and that's the hard part about catching that pass.
Yeah, the drive compact like a ton. We're getting some big windows. You see all of these cars in the corner really sliding back in the car. Really a lot of fun to watch. A lot of fun to do actually out on the racetrack. Really impressed by the 22 of Lofton running a high run. Move up the racetrack and finding a way to keep Hall on.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you see some of those sparks flying out of the 22 car. Here we go. This is what we talked about. As the patience gets thinner, the gaps in the leeway between the 88 car and the 22 become less and less, but they're both being pretty hard on those rear tires.
Lofton continues to fend off the challenge. Hall continues to run fifth. One of the reasons why Connor Hall wants to make this move. They've lost about 2+ seconds to be Tyrell Cole's third.
We have a competition yellow coming up soon. Let these drivers kind of reset, cool down. They'll be able to come pit road and make adjustments on their cars. And a lot of them knew. Sorry, Dale. A lot of them knew that this caution was coming out, so be able to make some adjustments as you see Vinny Tyrell put some pressure on Tristan McKee right here.
One of the reasons why this pass may be so important if he can get it done. It's going to be tough. The choose option with lane choice being so important here, Tyrell may want the first pick if he decides to line up alongside of Len Lewis or behind him with Rico coming after that yellow. So that'll back for seventh as the caution flag is going to fly. That's the biggest mover in the field right now. That 41 of Mason Diaz up 18 spots up in the seventh position was alongside of Connor Jones as the caution fly. Survived the racetrack back in 22 when I raced here with the Sundrop car and finished third. Mason ran second. A quality driver, a lot of talent. Not surprised to see that car driving in the field. Saw Mason earlier today as he's been spending a lot of time in the family business, the sign shop. But every time he comes out with a race car, tonight the Hedgecock Racing House car, he's quick. Caution is out. It's the competition yellow. 25 laps in the books. Lance Lewis has led them all. We'll be back to North Wilkesboro after this.
This is a really awkward part to hold because this keeps wanting to flop.
Do I miss that now? Of course I do. But do I regret my decision to stay Uredite? Thank you, Chuck. So sweet.
Very nice. You don't want to lose yourself in stage celebration. Progress makes progress.
At State Street, everyone's trying to get somewhere. Take the next step toward your future by investing in Nevada with TIA. Getting there starts here. Kia, movement that inspires. What's better than a spinach eye feel? An unlimited time. That's why the $5 discount is best time for fresh never frozen meat and applewood smoked bacon is on sale. Duh. How did you know?
Walmart Plus. It's Walmart Plus. Free shipping, no more minimum order. Walmart Plus. Want it? Plus no worries. Forgot.
Plus, no worries. It's quick shipping, so you can forget the first minute you're there.
Walmart Plus. It's Walmart Plus.
B. It's the bottom of the tavern, the walls for it. How have you been?
Endless is a month's monthly treatment to help those moderate to severe illnesses fight inflammation and my skin that's still more clear and more
And it does kind of look like that Mario brick pattern. I didn't even think of that.
allergic reactions can occur that can disappear. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have them.
Thank you. And that the like shimmer to it is just a product of using the it's the DMC. What is it? Yeah, no, it's whatever the cotton embroidery floss is. I believe this is a like technically an Egyptian cotton. Uh yeah, yeah, that sucks. I don't do cleaning. As you can kind of tell by the slight background of my organized creative chaos.
Pumpkin sweet orange?
So, another thing I was working on, B, I made a ring. I had some scrap of the plastic canvas. Listen, I still forget like how many hours ahead you are. I want to say it's like half a day. So I have that ring and I'm working on a green and copper one. But I'm like it starts as just a little bit of plastic canvas. Listen, experimental crafting is the way to go because then you suddenly like discover a technique and you're like, wait, this works like that?
Well, Blake, speaking of Kristen McKee, the pros model race season 2024 is checked in with the team. He said he's free all the way through, so they're just trying to snug him up. Also, he said we're hoping that rubber starts to lay down.
That's the best kind of crafting.
They were telling me you beat Kristen McKee on entry.
Make it up as you go along and hope it doesn't blow up.
Back up your entry if you need to, so the spotter gives you some feedback there to land in the seat currently claims that top spot right now, guys.
So a couple of donuts on the side of that 7 car. No such blemishes on Landon Lewis's machine. Looking for
Gotcha. So, what you do to try and help, what I would do to try and help combat that is pick small versions of the particular hobby, or like what I'm doing here is use multiple hobbies in the same like big project. So if you do sewing, okay, make a small like, almost like quilting, where it's like, here, let me make a bunch of small things and then I can sew them all together at the end. And then make like, giant pillow fort uh sized blanket. Because I know I can sit there and do like, work on a granny square and just make the same like square over and over and over. And if I'm doing it in different colors, that's even better. And then later on, when I have more of an attention span, I'll sit there and actually assemble everything. So it's use the like uh the wide array of skills to your advantage. Again, at the very least, that's what I would do. What I have kind of done. Because I will find like a new stitch or a new technique that I'll be like, oh man, I really want to try this, but I shouldn't start a new project. Let me figure out a way to incorporate that into my current project. Yeah, existing sucks. I can totally relate to that one. Um, and I have done the macrame, not like the larger like with the rope, but I've done the like friendship bracelets and stuff. So what would be interesting, um again, it'd take a lot of work to create it, but using like a macrame, make like a really long like chevron bracelet and then use that to crochet. Or you can make like hanging baskets and use the macrame to join things together. But you can kind of see it in my face cam. I have a whiteboard on like next to my door. So I write all of my lists, like everything. I have my list of, oh, here are active craft projects. Here are miscellaneous things. Here are commissions that I have to work on. So it's always staring me in the face, and I can kind of pick and choose and prioritize how I want to do it. But having like a yeah, I've actually so what I've found a pattern for, I haven't made it because I don't really have anywhere to hang it. But they have those like metal hoops that you can find in the craft store. And it's you almost like crochet like a mandala or like a dream catcher in it. And then it acts as like one of those fruit hanging bowls. And you get the progressively smaller rings. Yeah. So that is definitely something that it's going to be hard to fight against. So what you do is you surround yourself with post-it notes that remind you, hopefully, again, I don't specifically know the best way to break out of hyperfixations because I'm also terrible at not stopping. Like, I made sure that I had dinner before I started streaming, even though it was a little early, because I know I'm like, oh yeah, once I get into the groove of things, I look up and be like, oh, I've been going for 2.5 hours. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel that 100%. It's I still have days when I'm like emotionally just blech. I'm just like, I ain't feeling it. Not today. But in that case, I'll I'm more likely to go somewhat nonverbal as opposed to not be able to get out of bed. And I'm more likely to stab people. That's why I'm like, no, go away. Poke, poke. So I've trained all my coworkers where it's like, no, today is not the day. Unless you come bearing gifts of cash, candy, or caffeine, leave me alone. Oh my god. This is why we're best friends, because I am too. However, I also have the unfortunate problem of being a projecting empath. So other empaths have the problem of my emotions they pick up very strongly. But yeah, no, I look at it as I care too much and I need to stop doing that. So it's a lot easier to keep everyone else at arm's length so they can't hurt me. Or I'll hurt them before they get that chance. But emotions are dumb. But I absolutely can relate. Oh, listen, I had to go to work at all. That automatically cranks that knob up to 11. But I absolutely understand what you are going through, at least to probably a better degree than most. So any time of day you want to message me, go right ahead and I will be there for you. So I am perfectly willing to be that ear to listen to, you know, be the shoulder to lean on if you need. Not that I can do much halfway across the world, but I can be emotional support. I'll be your emotional support dragon. Emotional support dragon. Gotcha. Now, do you not work by choice or did something happen? You don't have to tell me if that is, personal. But personally, it's I work with a bunch of morons, and more specifically men, and they don't like it when a girl can do their job better than they can. Yes, I do. I absolutely know the kind of bullying that goes on in the workplace. Luckily, I don't have to deal with too much office drama because I work in a factory. Gotcha. So the men are just assholes and need to be pushed off a cliff. I mean, I regularly threaten to throw my coworkers in front of the semi trucks that drive by. And everybody at work knows better than to mess with me because I very quickly put a stop to any of that. Oh, you're a girl, you can't do any of that. Bitch, please try me. I can do, I can push more weight than you can. I can lift more, and I can do all your jobs on top of doing mine. So, gotcha. Yep. I bartended for a couple years. Yeah, sure. Base, let me know when you need the fridge moved. I'll hop on my car and start driving. Yep. I can put you in the fridge and then move it if that's acceptable. Because that's usually what happens when people try and take advantage of me. I Great. You mentioned something about being from the south, so I presume that's going to be like at least a 12-hour drive. I don't think my car will make it, so I may have to rent a car first. Okay. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being unapologetically who you are. And if people can't deal with it, you don't need those people in your life. Now, those are the people that can be thrown out a window. Listen, aren't there just some wild animals near you that you can just casually like push them in the path of? I'll feed them to a dingo or something. That's the best kind of family there is. Gotcha. I think that is more effort than I have ever put into an outfit. Most of the time I go with, oh, great. This is a clean shirt. That is one of my work shirts. And I don't particularly I wear the same pair of jeans all week at work because I'm like there's absolutely zero sense in getting multiple pairs dirty. when I immediately like come home and change into my pajamas. Do I get a sneak peek of the picture? Base. You can't just like tease me like that. Fair enough. Yeah. It's I because I work on the factory floor. Um I have a tendency, and if my machine is throwing a fit and I need to crawl around inside of it, I end up pretty covered in like laser dust. So plus Fridays is my actual like cleaning day. So it's definitely one of those. I'm like, yeah, I don't care enough. Yes, I saw it and getting to it now. Gotcha. Okay. I feel like it could have worked as a nude if maybe it was like I don't know, it looked a little bit more indoorsy. So my machine is ridiculous. I don't keep it clean and tidy because there's no point. Listen, I don't know lighting. I'm not at the stage of production yet that I have to worry about lighting. When I'm at that point, then I'll ask for your help. Because at that point, I'll be like, okay, all of my photographer friends, help me set this lighting or help me figure out where I need the light source from. And yeah, no. So I use basically a giant weed whacker like sized machine that has these two metal jaws that will like chomp uh that goes along the metal slats. Well, yes. I do understand that you meant for your scene. However, my point still stands. I will need help with lighting because, having this and having just a couple of, little. If I turn this on one handed. Again, like this light does not help, but mood lighting. Um, yes, the light does look a little like harsh, I guess, for nude. But that pose could work. And I feel like if you had slightly different columns and maybe like a tiled floor to make it look like an indoor like grand hall as opposed to outside in a like pantheon or a I don't know, some sort of outdoor amphitheater. But again, that is my unprofessional opinion. Okay. Then it might be, I'm thinking the color of the light. It's like cold versus hot lighting. But then again, I haven't done actual photography. Okay. More dramatic shadows. Gotcha. Gotcha. No, so I think it very well might have been might be me mixing up the terms. But again, I don't do photography. I don't do like real animation. I'm making all of this up as I go. So my terms might be slightly off. So is that the current scene that you're working on? Is that supposed to be like indoors or outdoors? No, no. Listen, entrance to a temple is a perfectly acceptable answer. It's so like okay, if it's supposed to be like sunrise, sunset, I picture more of like the orange light, unless there's an eerie glow coming from the temple itself. I am terrible at naming the Star Wars characters and places, so I may have seen images of that. um, but I will be 100% transparent of I I'm not that hardcore of a Star Wars fan. Okay. 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 No, that's fair. Yes. Fair enough. Sleep well. Thank you for hanging out. Uh I hope your shoot goes well tomorrow. I myself will be working all day at the racetrack and fighting with graphics. I love Oblivion. That was my first like real fantasy RPG game. Does the remastered include all of the like expansion and the DLC? Shivering Isles is by far my favorite. I could care less about like the main quest of Shivering Isles. There's just something about the outfits in what is it, Dementia? Those purple like spiked dresses. I'm like, absolutely, yes, please, give me. I'm sure they do. And even just the guards, the both the gold and the purple guards. And then one of the things that will always like pop into my head, I believe it was a quest from the Shivering Isles. It's the one guy that you have to give a bunch of sweet rolls to, and he'll give you like the fork of horripilation. Absolutely. And I would be like, okay, I did the main quest the first time I played it. I went through the main quest uh to say, okay, I beat the game. The second time I played it, I'm like, okay. So now we're going to get through the tutorial and completely ignore the main quest and do all of the side quests. The first thing I always did was the Dark Brotherhood. This way I could get Shadowmere and I remember I would attempt to do all of the Daedric shrines. Oh yeah, don't even. If we're putting mods into this thing, then that's a whole other thing. But it was always very much the I would, you know, actually try and like 100% all of the side quests. I never got it done, but I had the walkthroughs I would follow to get through all of that stuff. Yep. And I would always play an Argonian. And then because I started with Oblivion, when I went to play Morrowind, you know, gotta play the whole series at least once. I played Morrowind and I was like, what is this? Why can't I wear shoes? because in Morrowind, Argonians couldn't wear shoes, and I was like, what the absolute fuck? See, no, what I would always do, there's that one mission that's the haunted house, and that gives you like one of the nicest houses in the game. I don't remember if it's a Dark Brotherhood or just a like side quest. But there's that one where you have to go defeat the ghost of the previous owner in the basement because his like wife offed him or something. See, for whatever reason, I kept getting targeted by those stupid fish that like to launch themselves at your face. I would just like to, like, hop on a horse and just ride all over the countryside. I could care less if I was actually going in a particular direction or heading towards a thing. I think I would just try and get all of like the fast travel flags. Just literally just exploring around. Yeah, the slaughterfish, those guys. I don't know. It might have been revenge for when I spawned like 1,000 unicorns just because I could. Again, cheat codes. So, this is what the tavern wall will look like. So it'll have a bunch of those going across. The my favorite part, or one of my favorite parts of being an Argonian, is when you're trying to find that ring of water breathing. And they're basically like, oh, well, you're an Argonian. Here, take the spell. Uh-huh. What is it? TLC was the no clip command. There would be so many times I'm like, I hate this mission. I'm just gonna cheat my way to the end of the mission, and I'll kill the big bad from behind him while I'm in the wall. I never played too much with set scale, but I definitely had fun just kind of being like, yeah, I'm not feeling this vampire coven. No thanks. I'm just gonna go to the end and fireball to the face and hey, look, mission complete. And then okay, so the tutorial was always the worst. That first, wake up, prisoner. The emperor. Why is there a prisoner here? And the emperor needs to get through. And, oh, you're the one I saw in my dreams. Okay, I don't. I'm not your chosen one. Thanks. Bye. With was that Uriel Septum? Because what Tiber Septum was the founder of Oblivion, or Cyrodiil, or like the king, emperor. I'm gonna switch over here because I'm gonna wrap up because I have been going for 3 hours and I am exhausted, and I have a full day of working tomorrow. But I'm at the racetrack, not my normal job. Yes. Hundreds of characters, and I would always make sure I saved right before I left the sewers, so if I wanted to change, no, I don't need rest. Sleep is for the weak. That's why they made caffeine. Not sponsored, but could be sponsored. Should be sponsored. Monster, I'm looking at you. But no, it's mostly tomorrow. I have to set up a Wi-Fi extender. I have to work on making some graphics. So, You know, like if you've ever watched a race, how they have like the ticker across the top with all the names of the drivers. So they have a new one that our streaming service that streams our races. So I have to make the new graphics. I also got a bigger stream deck for the track, so I get to program that so I don't have to use 6 buttons to try and control all of the graphics. Gonna let this ad break play out, and then I'll wrap things up. But no, the one thing I again get away with a lot, and actually I should be able to show you what my mission control looks like. Da, da, da. I took a picture of mission control. I thought I took a picture of mission control. Did I not keep said picture of mission control? Apparently not. Yeah. Well, listen, if I let the ad break run out, for all I know, there's some lurkers that are counted. So I don't actually have a proper quote unquote stream deck. I just went on Amazon and got a. I'm gonna switch over here behind the scenes. This is Amplagame. This was just a very cheap one. It has some fancy light coloring. I think I got this one for like $60 maybe. But make an Amazon wish list and then tell me when your birthday is. Okay? That's how you get around that. So, yeah, I luckily don't have to wake up as stupid early as I normally do. When it comes to going to the track, I get to sleep in a whole extra 3 hours. Not that I will, because that's not how I work. Okay, well, I know you exist, and I don't know when your birthday is. So fix that. Send me the link in Discord. Okay. So are you before or after mine? Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Yes, I know you were here for mine. I know you were here for mine. But now I can mark yours on my calendar. And yeah, we will. I'll send you a belated gift. So before I start rambling completely incoherently, yes. So we should, in at least in my community, have like a community birthday calendar, or at the very least, I'll mark it on my calendar. So I am gonna get going because I've been going for over 3 hours at this point, and I specifically started streaming a little earlier so I would have time to wind down and actually maybe get a chance to sleep. Plus, I need my computer for tomorrow, so I can't leave it here to upload this stream. I will try and take some like snapshots and highlights and either post them on my story here, or I'll share them on Discord so y'all can see what my mission control looks like, where I have to run like 3 computers at the same time. One of them that I have to fix and try and stop it from blue screening again. But I will see y'all next time. My next planned stream is for Sunday not early morning. Probably around like 10, 11 ish my time, Eastern time. I don't know what that translates to Australian time or Brazilian time. But basically, when I wake up on Sunday morning, I'm gonna go grocery shopping, and then I will stream Saturday night. I'm so confused as to I need to like look at an actual map. If I'm streaming Sunday morning, how is that Saturday night? I thought you were in the future. You know what? You're just upside down. What time is it currently for you? Because it is like 10 to 10 p.m. for me. Doesn't that mean that it's like probably like 10 a.m. or like 8 a.m. for you? Okay. Yeah. So you're probably roughly yes. Yes, roughly Sunday night would be what it was for you. Yes. Cuz I think you're probably I could put it into my phone, but I think you're like what, like 13 hours ahead? Technically. Something like that. Anyways, everybody have a great night. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for stopping in, chatting. I love you all so much, and I will see you guys Sunday morning for me, whatever time that translates for y'all. Bye-bye.